You know, sometimes you just have to pay your respects to the old meme decks. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today Tim has asked me to play with Opalescence. This deck is also called Leylines, and it is going to run 28 different Leylines. The text on them doesn't matter. The fact that they are 4 mana enchantments that can come into play for free is the thing that does matter. Our goal is to have an opening hand that contains 4 Leylines, so that a Serra Sanctum can tap for 4 on turn 1. That will then turn each one of your Leylines into a 4/4, resulting in your opponent being dead in 1 to 2 turns, which is powerful. Now, this is a deck that is very reliant on you having approximately 4 Leylines, plus an Opalescence, plus a Serra Sanctum, which means we're going to have to push the limits of what the Mulligan system is capable of doing. And so we are going to be running Serum Powder as a way to take additional mulligans to make sure we can find what we are looking for. We'll also be running the highly cursed Enlightened Tutor as a way to find our copies of Opalescence. Enlightened Tutor isn't really a legacy playable card, but it's kind of the best we have here, unfortunately, in terms of speed and consistency. Our deck is not really going to play a lot of mana sources. We're hyper reliant on Serra's Sanctum, so we don't want to use tutors that cost more mana because we're often not actually going to have that mana. Let's take a look at the full deck list now. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, Eminence Gaming, and Cool Stuff Inc. Remember, if you need paper magic cards, check out Cool Stuff and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. So here's the deck list in all of its glory. And again, a huge portion of this deck list is just various ley lines. And like, they technically have text on them. Each one of them does something pseudo-relevant to the gameplay, but these are ultimately just becoming 4/4s. Our mana base is super sketch, and we are going to be pretty much dead to a Blood Moon effect. But we do need to be able to cast some of these other ley lines some portion of the time, as like removal spells and trading in combat is something that can definitely happen, especially if something like Urza's Saga gets involved that can just make large bodies. Note, we do have one other good Enlightened Tutor target, and that's Helm of Obedience, which combos with Leyline of the Void. We're not going to be that good at assembling this combo, but it's nice to have a backdoor out that does not require the combat step. We have a few slots in the main deck that aren't dedicated to Leylines, and these are going for suppression fields, which can shut down fetch lands and a lot of other really neat things that we care about, like the aforementioned Urza's Saga. Although honestly, I could see playing something like Deafening Silence in the main deck as well, and that would be totally reasonable. I've mostly kept Tim's sideboard intact, although given that we're playing on Magic Online, I have geared a little bit more heavily towards combo. But like, this package was something that was very much there in the original version, and replenish can be really nasty as the game goes very, very long. All right, I'm trying to record as much of this league as I can in the morning before jury duty, so let's battle. All right, we are recording with a friend of the channel here, Sahar. And my opening hand does not have a Serra's Sanctum. We have 1/2 mana, so we are going to powder this hand. I have no mana with this hand. We're going to mulligan to 6. I have not what I'm looking for with this. We're going to mulligan to 5. Okay. I have Serra's Sanctum, 1 Leyline. We're going to powder this hand. We do have to put some cards back in the deck. We're going to put the Serra Sanctums back in the deck. All right. So at some point, I have to start thinking about keeping hands. I don't think this is it. We're going to go to 4. Okay, there is a Serra Sanctum. This one is going to be a keep. I don't care about flash. I definitely don't want 2 of those. And now it's just like, how do I go about playing this game? Think like this. We have gone a little bit deeper than I would like with mulligans. We are looking to just naturally draw some mana sources. Ooh, I hope we're not playing against a control deck. We are playing against Cephalid Breakfast. We have the wrong Leyline. We are looking for Leyline of the Void in this matchup. All right. I mean, that's a land. I think I'm going to ignore the existence of Wasteland and just drop a Serra Sanctum into play immediately. I could die right here. Ooh, looks like I'm not going to die right here. I'll take 1. Yeah, that's fair. It's relevant, too. I would have cast that, and it would have guaranteed Opalescence next turn. Alright, there is the Cephalid Illusionist. Alright, so my opponent can now use Nomad's In-Core to activate Cephalid Illusionist a bunch of times. They will mill themselves until they hit a Thassa's Oracle and concede. And I'll concede, because I'll be dead. So I'm going to concede now rather than make them click through it. So, we can't sideboard a lot with this deck. I am probably interested in this. I'm probably interested in the Deafening Silences. I don't know about Mindbreak Trap or Canonist. I think I'm going to get rid of my Helm, because I want to board in a pretty good number of cards here. What am I gutting? Am I gutting Chrome Mox? Chrome Mox helps me cast Natural Suppression Field. Maybe I gut Enlightened Tutor. I think that's better than decreasing my Leyline count. So this is 2 Leylines. 2 Leylines. Chrome Mox, Imprint, Fairy, play Serra Sanctum, Serum Powder, then have Opalescence. Keep. It's even a relevant Leyline. We will start the game with 2 Leylines in play. We'll play Serra Sanctum. I will Chrome Mox. I have I have exactly 3 mana this turn, so I don't have enough to do cool things with Leyline of Lightning. Imprint Fairy. 1, 2, 3, Serum Powder. And the timing is not such that I can use Serum Powder to pay for the Leyline of Lightning trigger. So we're safe from the combo for a little while. We're more worried about getting hit by like a discard spell or a counter spell on Opalescence. Hopefully we just race an Urza Saga, and that doesn't become super relevant. I mean, we are here to party. Or Leyline of Lightning. You are trying so hard. No! Oh, that's obviously a very good counterspell. Now, we just kind of have to luck into a new copy of Opalescence. We've boarded out a lot of the aligned tutors. We can very easily die to something... Anyway, I am a skilled magician. Leyline of Lightning, doing its damnedest. Hold on now, hold on now, hold on now. Don't do it. Sahar. Don't do it. Let's talk about this. Okay, that's very good. That means that my janky combo has produced a single 4/4. Oh, this kills Urza's Saga. Yeah. That didn't occur to me, but that makes sense. Okay. So I've made a 4/4 and cast Sinkhole. That's not bad. My Serra Sanctum now only taps for 1 mana, which is like super unfortunate. There's not actually all that much mana in the whole deck. Shuko. Leyline of the Void is out of play. This is just cast on me to keep me from casting a spell. Which works. And it's a relevant spell at that. I still have the 4 mana. So this is next turn. I'd love to draw a black mana source so that I can cast a Leyline of the Void and insulate myself from combo. Let's see if we're dead. Good luck. Leyline of Sanctity is a reasonable name, but my opponent knows that I have Leyline of the Void, and I have one black mana source already. Ooh, they're going for Fairy. That might mean I'm dead right now. That is indeed Cephalid Illusionist. No cards left in hand. The Shuko combo will kill me here, and I am willing to concede and move on with my life. Eminence Gaming's Command Tower software is a fantastic way to run 4-player EDH or CEDH events, and it's also great for 1v1 tournaments. It has easy event registration, and there's no download required. Everything just runs in browser. The best part is that it's only $5. Visit eminence.events for details. Okay, so I can start the game with 5 Leylines in play. Cast Enlightened Tutor for Opalescence and play Opalescence. This is a keep. But boy, am I going to get absolutely savaged by a wasteland. I am just going to play this now. And we are going to get to do the Leyline of Lightning thing. Huzzah! Huzzah! We will search for Opalescence, put it on top of our library. Not Wasteland. Now, my opponent knows that they have to find a counter spell or they are 100% dead. Fuck yeah, that is a effective turn 1 kill with Leylines. That feels good. What would we like to play versus Underground Sea? That could be a lot of ducks. I could just get rid of Suppression Field. Like, the issue is, like, we could be on the combo spectrum or we could be on the fair stuff spectrum. And I don't know the answer to that yet. Like, if we're on the fair, like, Grief, Murktide, Regent side of things, I want these. And if we're on the Doomsday side of things, I probably want these. I think I'm just going to board nothing given no information. So, Leyline, 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 1 mana. Not gonna do. This is also not gonna do. We're gonna go to 5. We haven't done a good job of finding serum powders. So this is a 5. I can keep Sanctum, Leyline, Leyline, Powder, 1 land. Or I can powder this hand, which is probably better to do. We'll put a Serra Sanctum back in the deck, and we'll put 1 Leyline back in the deck. Yes, this is fine. We'll keep this. Leyline, Leyline, Leyline. Okay. We are going to need 1 mana source to get to enough mana to do cool shit. Alright, we're playing against Delver. We don't have an artifact land in this deck. Okay, we've got other plays, but, like, please don't wasteland me. I will be a sad boy. The plan is Enlightened Tutor for Serra, or not Serra Sanctum, for Suppression Field. That wasteland is worse against me. And that also will get me my 4th mana for Opalescence. I think I respond to that. Enlightened Tutor. I will pay. See if my opponent wants to counter this. No. We'll grab Suppression Field. That locks in my draw. And there's a Dragon Rage Channeler. We're going to be under a lot of pressure. It's fine as long as my opponent doesn't have a counterspell, you know? It's just totally fine. I can technically cast spells as though they had flash, but I don't think I would like to do that here. And I am going to play this spell around days, so I am not going to pay for this ability. Cool. So we are better against Wasteland. However, this only makes them cost 2 more. My opponent does currently have 2 lands. So it's not like the Wasteland problem is solved. It has just been delayed. But fetch lands are worse, baubles are worse, wastelands are worse. Like, it is a pretty respectable card here. Okay, that's the wasteland. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. My opponent can crack that bauble to get another look. With the wasteland coming, I 100% have to just jam Opalescence into a counterspell this turn. Because, like, I am just fully vulnerable to the onboard card here. Yep. I do not have the mana to pay for that. And now My opponent's wasteland is going to take out my Serra Sanctum, and I will just have to draw another Serra Sanctum off the top, unfortunately. No Delver flip. There's the wasteland. And I'm dead in short order. Maybe 2 turns, maybe 3 turns, depending on how cooperative the Delver is feeling. Okay, cool. So I am technically on a 2-turn clock, although I have to imagine that bad things like Murktide Regent can happen, which turns it into a 1-turn clock, as this is a 6/6. So we're donezo. We had a real shot that game. We now know that we are playing against creatures. I think I'd like to get rid of Helm, and Enlightened Tutor's not the best. This can give me 4 removal spells, and I'll probably just like play a Deafening Silence to be an enchantment that can make Serra's Sanctum a little bit stronger, and we'll call that good. Oh man, this is 1 Leyline. This is like so close. Like it's 1 Leyline, turn 2 Suppression Field, turn 3 Touch the Spirit Realm, maybe turn 4 Opalescence. I think I'd like to try to high roll a little better than this. Leyline, Serra Sanctum, Touch the Spirit Realm. Have to naturally draw an Opalescence, but I have really good resources. I'm going to keep this. I think I keep 2 copies of Serra Sanctums and just play 3 Leylines. Red one's not relevant, right? Red one's not relevant. So we got 3 Leylines to start things off. We'll just play this out. If I draw a regular land, then next turn I have the potential to play a Touch the Spirit Realm around a Daze. Okay, sure. That's fine. That's why we kept 2 of those. Sure. Opponent gets a card. I guess I play this out again. It's awkward, but I want to be able to touch the Spirit Realm around Daze. Okay, there's a Delver. So that is a target for my spell. I am fine just casting this as Oblivion Ring and nuking the Delver. The future Touch the Spirit Realm is now playable around Daze. And we do have to get a little lucky and draw Opalescence, but hopefully we have time for that. Just so hard to resolve an Opalescence in this matchup. Alright. Hopefully we strand like some Murktide Regents in hand and make Dragon Rage Channeler just be a 1/1 forever. But yeah, we're going to play a lot of draw go here. Bowmasters is fine. It's a little bit awkward in that it is a creature that isn't cleanly answered by Touch the Spirit Realm. Like, I'm okay with that at the end of the day. Wait. That's symmetrical. Yeah, that orc token has +1/+1. Okay. So let's do this. I can start casting extra Leylines if I'd like. I'm not sure that it's a good idea. I'm going to cast this. The soft mana from Serra Sanctum is relevant, but we're fully on need to draw Opalescence dot plan. Ooh. So we're on a respectable clock despite having used 2 removal spells here. And it's pretty likely that my opponent has a counter spell. Just kind of feeling it out here. If I draw an Opalescence, I have 4, 8, 12, 15, 18, 20 damage. 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. So if I tap one of these to play this, I do shorten my clock without... Yeah, I think I just passed the turn here. Petty Theft on Leyline. That means that I don't have lethal with an Opalescence as my draw for next turn, which I believe means that I'm almost always dead. Yeah, and the Brazen Borrower coming down in the air means that even if I draw Opalescence, I can't just block everything out. That'll do. GG's. Okay, my opening hand has a single mana here, so this one is no good. This has no Opalescence, no Serra's Sanctum. So we will powder these. Let's throw a Leyline back in the deck. I think I'd rather go to 5 than keep this. Like, it has Opalescence, but literal 0 mana. So I guess the powdering is free. Mulligan to 5 cards or keep 6 of these. I will keep 6 of these. Powder mulligans are weird. All right. Triple Leyline in play. We're looking to dodge Wasteland. Or I guess like a counterspell or discard spell. That's a lot of things. We knew that coming in though. My opponent has sent some funny messages. They have figured out what's coming. Alright, my opponent is doing storm stuff. That is a... Oh, we're going. I'm gonna get... Oh, Gamble is actually super risky here. City of Traders. City of Traders? Oh, so we're Ruby Storm. I've shut off Echo as a thing that they can do. Okay, I have made it to my turn 1. Fortunately, I have 3 mana, not 4, so I have to pass the turn here. Okay, Metalcraft is on. It has 2 cards remaining. They're doing stuff again. Okay, it is just a Galvanic Relay. Honestly, that could have been much worse. Okay. Ooh. Tapping Mana Confluence is fine, right? I guess I technically do 1 more point of damage if I do it this other way, though. Jaw. Keep this one. Jaw. Opalescence. Leyline of Lightning Trigger. Paying the 1. We are ready to go to combat. Swing in for 12. My opponent is dead next turn. They are operating on limited resources here. So let's see what they can do. With the graveyard shut off, this is like definitely harder than normal. But my opponent could normally just like Echo in this situation, and it's quite good. Not here though. There is a gamble, and this is a true gamble. My opponent has 1 card in hand, so just literal 50-50 odds of hitting the thing that they want. Which honestly, I'm not even sure what it is. That's a discarded Mox Opal. Probably not the thing they gambled for. That's a Burning Wish. You can crack LED for 3 mana. Oh, do you have a bounce spell for Opalescence? I can keep you alive, in theory. Yeah, a Void Snare. The Void Snare. I still have lethal on board. Yeah. So that was supposed to bounce Opalescence. And then I just end up replaying it. The Leyline would still be in play. I have 4 mana, play Opalescence. So I think that was a 0-out situation for my opponent. Deafening Silence and Aethersworn Canonist sound fine. Mindbreak Trap sounds fine. I'm probably not going to play Helm here. And I don't know that I'm interested in Suppression Field. It is a reasonable card versus Harnfell, the backside of Burgi. But that's kind of all it does. And this is a matchup where I want Enlightened Tutor for these cards. So this gives me a clean, like, this is how I board pattern. And I think I like that. 5 Leylines and turn 1 Deafening Silence. I will be missing both mana and a Opalescence. That said, I don't really know that I mulligan this hand. This might just be a trap, though. Like, I'm just missing too much. I can probably end up with a similar caliber hand. I'm going to mulligan this one. This is Leyline of the Void. Oh, this one's awkward. Because I don't have the white mana for Canonist. Let's powder this, putting either Leyline of the Void or Canonist back in the deck. Probably the Leyline of the Void. I get to keep all of these cards. This is draw a Serra Sanctum away from a win. I'm going to keep this. This has 2 relevant Leylines as well. And we all know that the top card of my library is Serra Sanctum, right? Like there's just no doubt. What you got over there? Okay. We're probably more at danger of just dying to like Bergy smacks than anything else in this matchup, honestly. Shuffler's rigged or something. Lanes pass. Alright, we're going towards bigger mana. Ooh, we're doing stuff. There's an LED. Remember, each one of these is netting 1 extra mana from Bergy. So what, 4, 6, 9, 12 total mana? Burning Wish. Goblins? Seems like goblins. It is goblins. Very good. Now, there's some unfortunate downside of what's happening that you might have noticed. Ahem. So I believe that I am dead. Shuffler's rigged. No Serra Sanctum. Alright. I believe that I am good to keep the deck in the current configuration. When we're on the play, the Deafening Silence hands become a lot more keepable. Okay. Start with Leyline of Vitality in play. Chrome Mox, Imprint Enlightened Tutor, Serra Sanctum, play Canonist. This is awkward, but fine. Leyline in play. Chrome Mox. Imprint, 1 copy of E-Tutor, Serra Sanctum, into Canonist. Oh, yes, I will gain my life from my Leyline of Vitality. I need to set a stop in my upkeep here so that I can E-Tutor for a Deafening Silence. Oh? Absolutely. So the cool thing here is that like this is going to find an answer to a creature, and then I'm immediately about to make a non-creature answer, or a non-creature Stormhate card as well. Oh shit, it's Echo of Eons. Okay. Yeah, you can play out all those things. So upkeep. Enlightened Tutor. Or Deafening Silence. Draw. F. F, 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 F. No. Made a terrible mistake. Wasted by my own petard. My opponent echoes. They do just refuel my hand, though. I would have lost the tutor anyway, but I could have guaranteed that I drew Deafening Silence. Hashtag skill game. Okay. My opponent can play out whatever artifact mana they have. But that's it. Echo was their 1 spell. So let's go ahead and do some punchies. Get my opponent for 2. Play a Deafening Silence. Now taps for 2 mana. I'll play one of these. I unfortunately can't play a Serum Powder this turn. Hopefully that's fine. We are going to go on the Leyline of Punishment plan. Or sorry, this isn't the shooty Leyline. Alright. Actual factual gamble. Maybe just getting like a Bergy. Just playing a Bergy stops my Canonist damage. Wish is something they could have gotten with Gamble. That is an Opalescence. I think that's a little weird. It turns Deafening Silence into a creature which could be answered by like a sweeper. I wonder if I'm supposed to just play a Leyline this turn and then Opalescence next turn. My opponent will be at 14. Next turn I can hit them for 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe 12, 13. I am going to just play the Opalescence though. And Serra Sanctum does not tap for a lot of mana here. We'll see if this ends up being a mistake. But, like, playing the Opalescence this turn probably puts my opponent on a 2-turn clock. This is a swing for 7. My next swing is a swing for 7, which is lethal if my opponent taps Ancient Tomb. Alright, we're chilling. Enlightened Tutor not super good here. Let's attempt to swing in for this damage. I am successful. Okay, this is tapping for 3, 4. I don't really want to play Leyline of the Meek, despite the fact that it's a 4/4. It just makes blocking so much better if my opponent plays a couple of artifacts and then an empty. I think I am just going to play a Serum Powder as my 1 spell. And then if my opponent does something cute, I can Enlighten Tutor. I have 2 separate hate pieces in play. Okay, there's an Echoing Truth on one of them. Canonist is still in play. My opponent has 4, now 5 cards in hand. So they would need to answer Canonist with their first spell without tapping Ancient Tomb, which seems tough. That helps a lot. All right, we have gotten the GG from my opponent. So we are officially on the scoreboard with a win with Leylines. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and I personally keep all of my deck lists for every format on this site. I love that I can go and sort them by types and tags if I need to. There's a lot of different viewing options. It can give you some math about your mana symbol, your curve, and you can even playtest and do sample opening hands with it. Check this site out if you haven't before. It's awesome. All right, my opening hand here is a Serra Sanctum away from greatness, but I think I just powder this hand. I do not have an Opalescence here. I will powder this hand. This is a regular mulligan. I have Leyline Helm. I don't have any mana. So this will be going to 6. I have no Opalescence, no Serra Sanctum here. I will be going to 5. Okay. This is a 5-card hand. My opponent has sent me some funny messages. Okay. Leyline, Serra Sanctum, E-Tutor. E-Tutor gets me Opalescence. I can play City of Brass instead of 1 Leyline. That doesn't actually net me mana, because I lose a Leyline in process. Okay. I will keep 5. One of these goes back. One of these goes back. Done. I will begin the game with 3 Leylines in play. So my opponent said, I knew you liked experimental decks, but not like this. 60 card fetch land Death and Taxes is possible. It's more likely that my opponent is something like, say, Espervile. Chromox is like almost good. I believe I play land and pass. The reason I don't E-Tutor now is that... Never mind. We're not going to talk about the worlds where my opponent does not have Wasteland. So I don't... Actually, do I still just E-Tutor? I maybe still just E-Tutor. I'm always going to need an Opalescence to win this game. So you can take 1. I'll put the Opalescence on top. Life's probably bad. I'm going to remove this. Stop. Oh, and in case it wasn't obvious, I did not record all of these rounds before jury duty. My brain is a potato. Hopefully a potato is all that is required to pilot this deck. Alright. Euthalia-ing me. Euthalia-ing me. Making me sad. Alright. No play on my end, obviously. At some point, we will Chromox that Leyline. I'll take some damage. And no play this turn. Is my opponent on 60 card black-white D&T? Ultra complete. I guess I could also be Red Splash. Alright. We're not getting Cauldron immediately, which is nice. Not nice is kind of everything else that's happening here. Is very rude. Okay. Sure. I lose the game immediately if my opponent's playing Sanctum Prelate. It is a Solitude. That has text versus my deck, but is not nearly as scary as other things that could be happening. Stoneforge is just ready to fucking rumble. There's another Thalia. There's another Chrome Mox. Not good in the face of Thalia. Yeah, just kind of with how things are shaking out here, I would not have beaten this Wasteland. And in fact, it might have been worse for me if I played out the land. Let's touch the Spirit Realm as well. I'm just dead, right? My opponent puts in Solitude 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. Yeah. Dead. Alright, we get to sideboard. Touch the Spirit Realm is about the only thing that I can play here. I don't even know that I want to play it. Like, my basic strategy is turn 1 my opponent. Just turn 1, do the thing, don't mulligan, get lucky. That's my plan. I just don't think my Touch the Spirit Realms are going to keep up with what my opponent is doing. I'm not going to dilute my deck. Leyline, 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 no Opalescence. Mulligan. Leyline, 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 Opalescence, no mana. So I powder this one. I will put the Opalescence back into the deck. 1 Leyline, Opalescence, powder. We powder this. 1 Opalescence is permanently gone. This hand basically does nothing. I will go to 5. We start getting scared at 5. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and try to get lucky and draw Serra Sanctum. That is probably better than going to 4. But I dislike when my game plan is literally get lucky. Like, that is not a feel-good situation. I think I just basically lose the game unless my top card is Serra Sanctum. It's not literally that, like, night and day, but it's pretty close. And this is one of the problems with this deck. Like, you're a critical mass deck. Like, you really require 4 Leylines plus Serra Sanctum plus Opalescence, which is 6 cards. So once you start mulliganing to 5 and below, it just gets dicey so quickly. And I don't know that we're just going to beat a fair Caldra here, but we're going to do our damnedest. That is the Opalescence. So this is an attack for 12. Fuck! I was about to say it. The words that were about to come out of my mouth were like, we have a very realistic chance at winning this game unless my opponent has Solitude. Because Solitude is just worth 8 life over 2 turns, which is devastating. All right. We're not out of it yet, but life's really bad. Okay. So I can play an Opalescence and then attack for 12, which is really like attacking for 8. I think I just play a Leyline of Sanctity and pass, though, and then plan on killing my opponent in one shot. Is that more reasonable? If I attack with my 3 enchantments that are currently in play, I lose Opalescence, my opponent takes 8 and goes to 3. I then have 2 creatures that can attack next turn. And my opponent very easily has 2 blockers. Yeah, I think I multi-turn this and try to lose as few creatures as possible to the Caldra and hope that my opponent doesn't port me. Yeah. I'm just kind of hoping that this Opalescence becoming reanimated surprises my opponent. Okay, there's a Thalia. Combined with... Holy shit. Wow, okay. Take that. I'm at 12. Are you going to port me? Oh shit, they didn't port me. That means that I can just pay for this. Opalescence. Let's see how this goes. Swing. Like, there could be a Batter Skull right here, and it's just absolutely fucking savage. But we gotta go for it. It is a Touch the Spirit Realm that blinks one of those... Oh, yeah, okay, so that... You can see what happened. The blink was good, is essentially what I'm trying to say. So, because that essentially fogged 2 creatures. Okay, Lion's Ash is fine. My opponent needs more than this. Yeah, send him. There's a very awkward thing that can happen. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to summon it. Not going to summon it. Fuck me. It just happened. Okay. So, here's what's about. Okay, so my opponent could have played their turn better. So, what they were supposed to do was first strike damage, kill 1 copy of Opalescence. And then that takes one of them out of combat, and then they can Swords to Plowshares another, right? I guess there's no way to eat both Opalescence, but they could have one more body in play. Okay. Yeah, because the moment 2 Opalescences are around, things get... Yeah. All right. So, when I am on the draw, do I still want Suppression Field? Because Suppression Field just, like, fucks with Vial and Stoneforge and Wasteland and stuff. I think so. I think that's better than Touch the Spirit Realm for the Cauldron Germ token specifically. I am on the draw, right? So, 1, 2, 3 mana. Any non-Chrome Mox card gives me attack for 12 on turn 1. This hand is a keep. I will draw my 3rd and 4th copies of Chrome Mox as my first 2 cards and lose my goddamn mind. Okay, this is fine. So, Chrome Mox. Imprint Enlightened Tutor. 4 mana, Opalescence. Attempt to attack for 12. Send them. Alright, a Solitude is going to stop 1. Goodbye, Leyline of Punishment. My opponent takes 12. Or sorry, takes 8, going to 12. This is a lot of pressure. I don't know if you're supposed to Wasteland in this position. Like, you are facing down 8 onboard power. And you've already demonstrated that you don't have another Swords of Plowshares. Like, you need the mana more than I do. By a lot. We have gotten the GGs. We have put up another match win. Ooh. Okay, final round here. This hand doesn't do anything. It's got mana for days, but we're not cooking with gasoline. This is a Serum Powder hand for sure. I would like to redraw a Leyline of these, probably. I'm going to say Leyline of the Void is the best Leyline of these. But it's not night and day. So this hand goes Leyline, Leyline, Leyline. Chrome Mox, Imprint, Suppression Field. Enlightened Tutor for Opalescence. And then requires a Serra Sanctum from there. I think I'm going to ship. This is very similar to the last hand. I will keep 5 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I need the land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put 2 Leyline of the Voids back into the deck. This is probably the point where I just keep and pray. Leylines. Playing against counter magic. So my plan of just resolving Opalescence maybe not going to be at its best here. That is not the Serra Sanctum that I am looking for. Opponent's got no immediate plays. We've got time to draw into it, but you know. The turn counter ticking up is not a good thing for the meme combo deck. Am I getting Orums? I'm getting iced. Absolutely. Oh, no, absolutely not. Savaged. I used to do people dirty with Rishadan Port all the time like this. Back before Mana Confluence got printed. It used to be, and I'm exaggerating this slightly, but it used to be that you could like literally City of Brass someone to death with Rishadan Port. It didn't happen often, but I definitely finished off some like dredge players that way. Fast shuffle. We got a lot of nothing going on, and I can't really Enlighten Tutor for anything good because I want to draw a land. What's probably going to happen here, if I have the correct read on the room, is that my opponent at some point is just going to cast forth Airlingas, and I will whack the concede button. But it's possible my opponent is straight blue-white. No, there's the volcanic island. Do it, you coward. Oh, fuck. They did it. It is now unclear whether or not a resolved Opalescence will actually beat my opponent, even if I do luck into the appropriate land. My opponent is just going to have so many chump blockers. It may be that Helm combo becomes a more consistent kill, but it's hard to say. Getting iced. So rude. I'm at 16. So my opponent's not just like rattling off cantrips, which means that they have other interaction, which is pretty fucking brutal. Also, my opponent just casting Ancestral is pretty decent as well. Just throwing that out there. Opponent didn't even attack with the secondary token that was capable of attacking. No risk from their end. Okay. Life's not great. My plan is to draw exactly Serra's Sanctum into Helm of Obedience. That's my plan. I think my opponent's plan is like ever so slightly better than my plan, though. So, yeah. So after that card draw, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Any cantrip is +3 damage. So if my opponent has 2 1-mana cantrips or like a 1-mana cantrip and a counterspell, I am deterministically dead. Hey, that'll do. Wait, it won't do, right? They didn't pay enough mana into that. Okay, whatever, that'll do. Rudely ice me for the 3rd time this game. Okay, this time around, I think I am interested in Replenish. My opponent's probably gonna counter my shit, so getting it back would be cool. I'd probably get rid of Suppression Field here. This is still white to imprint. I'll keep the Helm as a backdoor kill. Alright. Leyline, Leyline, Leyline. 3, 4 mana. This is fine, but I am not going to keep this on 7. Leyline, 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 Opalescence. I have 0 or 1 mana towards Opalescence, depending on how you look at it. So I'm going to powder this one, throw an Opalescence back into the deck. All right. This is a 6-card hand. I would keep all of these. All right, I don't think this does it. Like, I can keep this E-Tutor for a cheap enchantment, which I barred it out. Yeah, this is not going to cut it. We're going to go to 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guess. Doesn't feel good. But again, we're playing Serum Powder in our deck because our mulligans past 6 are so bad. And you're looking for a lot in opening hands. And I do kind of have some thoughts on deck building for how to fix this. I think. I think, because I don't know how many Leylines there actually are, but I'm pretty sure I can do better than what's here. So in the good news, bad news situation, assuming that I can actually resolve an Opalescence, like I draw a Serra Sanctum, like I do have red in play, so I can cast these things. So like, there's some things to like about this. However, my opponent has 7 cards in hand, and their life total is essentially still 20. Like, they've fetched, but I haven't done anything to start pressuring. Fuck. Okay. Well, that's bad. So now, if I find Serra Sanctum, I can't just go and cast this. Yeah. So my best top deck has been turned off, and my opponent is going to get to start doing dirtily blue mage bullshit that is going to be bad for me. Lavinia is a card that I really like in this metagame, by the way. Like, very good against, like, the grief scam stuff while being generically good versus combo decks. Okay, it may just be that we never see our fun land, and my opponent gets to just bully me. I was just being a nice little lad, trying to do fun things. My opponent beats me to death with overly large creature tokens. It's sad. With just the fair card draw from this, I think at this point it's okay to say that I am done. We do get 50 play points for our trouble, which honestly is better than I thought would happen when I fired up the league this morning. Okay, so we put some wins on the board. We did the thing a few times. Here are my thoughts on the deck having played it. I don't know that suppression field and lands are good, and I realize what I'm saying here. But this deck is essentially a combo deck that requires you to have Opalescence and Serra's Sanctum in your opening hand. Getting to 4 mana off lands that look like this is just, like, not the best. You maybe need a couple to help cast a Lightning Tutor if you feel like that is something that should remain in the deck. But basically, these cards are necessary. These 29 cards or some variation thereof are necessary. I did a quick Google. There are 11 different Leylines, which means that you can play up to 44 different Leylines in your deck list. If we assume that serum powders are still mandatory, and that enlightened tutors are still necessary to help find Opalescence when it isn't in your opener, like, you have some slots that you can play around with, even if you want to run some lands. You can go deeper on Leylines. And I don't think I like Suppression Field. Like, shutting off Wasteland is definitely something that matters. But if shutting off Wasteland matters, then you already haven't executed your primary game plan of just cast Opalescence off Serra's Sanctum. Just 4 Leylines, tap, go, right? So I wonder if this deck is improved by playing a few more Leylines, and maybe over Suppression Field you main deck something like Deafening Silence. It's something that can help bridge you towards higher mana amounts better. So for example, let's say you have a Serra Sanctum and like 2 Leylines, or even 1 Leyline. You can just tap your Serra Sanctum, play Deafening Silence, and that gets you that +1 mana on the next turn. And I would feel pretty good about that. If you keep Enlightened Tutor, the One of Helm is a thing that can matter. I think in one of our games we were maybe working towards Helm, but I think that was because a lot of things had gone wrong. So if I were to revisit this deck, I would be thinking about these slots, thinking about playing more Leylines, thinking about playing Deafening Silence or another 1 mana enchantment, or maybe even like you can start thinking about like cantripping enchantments, like 1 mana cantripping enchantments, the abundant growth type things. There's something to think about. Like, that said, you also have to realize that like you're playing Leylines, so there's only so much better your deck is going to get. I am happy with the sideboard that I played today. I think there's other ways that you can mess around with the sideboard, though. I do think having the sideboard geared towards stopping other fast combo decks is definitely important. And I definitely boarded in both Replenishes and Touch the Spirit Realms in different spots. So I think that's my word vomit for today. Let me know. Until I had jury duty, let me know down in the comments below what you kind of think of how the deck should move going forward. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and if you need paper magic cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. Use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. Oh, I'm gonna go relax. See ya.